Let's see if they pour in for this, Lewis. I'm guessing biggest audience yet. Oh, I see some bits. Those look real nice. Boom. And we're live. Welcome, everyone. We got an exciting show for you all today. Some would say the best yet, right, Lewis? Just look at Lewis's face.
It's going to be the best this week for sure.
Well, I think that's true, especially if you consider the competition, the Vergecast.
Oh, I just meant our best.
Oh, well, it will be that, but also when you look at the competitors out there, I mean, no one stands a chance, Lewis. You got the Vergecast out there, Snooze Fest. You got the freaking 9 to 5 Mac podcast, Snooze Fest. No one's having more fun than us, Lewis. If you want to shout out, we got I Cave Dave here. Oh, very chipper. Hello! I'm just joking. If Vergecast wants to have me on, especially if they have me on with Alex E. Heath, I'll be on in a minute. In fact, if they offered me a job, I'm on here.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry, guys. I got to quit. Oh, what happened? I'll go to the Verge. I'm going to be Neil Pacel's personal assistant. We got Ronald Hudson here. Chase McLean. Oh, he's got a very serious yippee-ki. Yeah, I can't repeat the rest of that. You know that. Captain Future's here. Ronald Hudson, but you need your third wheel. Yeah, well, El Caney's dead. So
jeez.
He can't come back. Maybe we can get a Ouija board.
Provably wrong.
We can get a Ouija board, and he can speak to us from the, from hell, where he is.
Oh, jeez.
I'm just joking. Come on.
That
guys.
office does sometimes feel like hell.
Yeah.
It's hot in there.
Oh, really?
A lot of cluttered stuff.
Because of the temperature.
Surrounded by shambling people outside.
It does.
A lot of shambling going on down there.
There are a lot of similarities to hell, aren't there?
Mission shamblers.
Hi from Salt Lake. E for Excelsior. Oh my goodness. I Cave Dave. He's been listening for a long time. If you know what the E stands for, then you must have been around for a long time. So we've got while Lewis does his neck exercises over there.
Gotta get limbered up for the show,
Gotta
man.
get loose. We have. I actually can't believe it. We have so much stuff to talk about this week. I was going through the notes and I actually had to pull stories out because I was like, we don't have time for all this. You know, Lewis and I, we have a hard time just rambling about nothing. If we don't stay on point, we don't have anything to talk about, Lewis. So we got to make sure that we keep it concise. And
there's no room for digressions.
Absolutely not. Mr. Puff Cocaine. Yeah, where is El Caney? You want to give us a little update on what he's doing? I always joke about the fact that he might be dead, which is, could be true week to week, but he is alive.
We were collaborating on something a little earlier this week. Now I can't remember what it was.
Newsletter. I'm guessing the newsletter.
Well, newsletter's a daily thing.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Got a lot of loose ends. We were trying to fix something. There's some, the most popular posts thing on our website, suddenly started puking. So we had to figure out what was going wrong with that.
Huh. Well, that's no good, believe me.
Thank you, Google Analytics.
Yeah. Has El Caney said if he's ever come back? Have you talked to him about it yet?
Oh, I didn't think it was polite to ask.
Yeah.
But, I'll ask him soon.
Yeah, run it by him and see what he said. Maybe he could come on as a guest, special guest, Leonard Caney. Oh, man, I Cave Dave still has his Might T-shirts. Holy moly, and he was a user-friendly viewer. I Cave Dave, wow, you have been around for a long time. That is truly impressive. The fact that you know what either of those two things are, I salute you. Thank you for...
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Lewis has no clue what you're even talking about. So that's definitely impressive. All right, well, let's look. Let's just jump right into it. Yeah.
Sir.
Oh,
I beg of you.
I know what you want. You sick son of a gun. I know what you want. I know exactly what you want. You're always trying to get your hands on these tweets.
I am predictable. I'll give you that.
If nothing else, this is going to have them pouring in, Lewis. Ready? There you go, Lewis. That's it. That's the one. That's the one.
Here we go.
All right. Well, while you're doing that, Lewis, I'm going to go ahead and queue up Mrs. You-Know-Who, and we'll get this show rolling. Oh, Mrs. D. Oh, Mrs. D, you're so chipper. Oh, yes. Had a very special session with Mr. Caney last night. Oh, really? What were you guys doing? Did you go bowling? Oh, no, we made love. Oh, jeez. So forthright with that information. You'd think that you'd want to keep some of that to yourself. I'm glad to hear that someone's seen El Caney because none of the rest of us have. Haven't seen that dude in like 4 months. All right, Mrs. D, if you don't mind, let's get things moving here because we're dropping concurrent viewers precipitously here, and we can only keep people's attention for
People
so
tune
long.
in. There's no LK. That's it. They're out.
They come here, they see that it's just absolute nonsense being talked about and no actual Apple news. So,
Did you see that I actually put the word nonsense in the tweet?
No, I didn't.
That is an odd coincidence.
Maybe I did just see it pop up in my periphery, but I didn't read it. Maybe it was subliminal.
Must have got a flash.
I mean, it did pop up. So, but you put the word nonsense. I didn't read the tweet. I just saw that my tweet had been retweeted.
That is weird.
Okay, well, look, Lewis, we're losing
Okay,
viewers.
get
Do
it,
you mind
get
if
it, get it,
we
get it.
get going here? Okay. All right, while we're doing this, guys, let's get some likes going here so we could save people from the, talk show hell that they're probably steeped in right now. Let's get them over here where they can be entertained. Let me get the music going in 3, 2. Hello and welcome to the Coldcast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Airphone Elijah. Join me today. Where is he? Losing my voice here in my mind. His daily responsibilities include keeping the writer's cage lined with hay, filling their trough with food, and hunting down escapees. He's the managing editor of Cult Mac. Lewis Wallace is here.
Down to half rations this week, man. The inflation's really cutting into things.
You're down to a half rack of hay, is that what you said?
Half rations.
Half rations. But wait a second. They were on half rations before, and that was from half rations before that. So.
That's what, 1/8 or 1/16? I can't. I'm no good with the math.
But when you feed them like old cut up newspapers and eggshells and scraps from the Caney household, you can afford to feed them, the good stuff, because it's just, basically going to be composted anyway.
I'm hoping it'll foster a more lean writing style.
Yeah, that's a good strategy. Lean diets, lean writing style. And if they don't quit making those typos, they're going to be lean indeed. Am I right about that, Liz?
Oh, my God. Speaking of typos, we had one in the newsletter the other day. It got by us both. It's really...
You mean you and I, or you and Leander?
Leander and I.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's just embarrassing.
What was it?
Auger. We used the wrong auger.
Oh, I didn't realize there were more than one auger.
Oh, yeah.
It's AUGER, right?
That's one.
Is there AUGORE?
Not the one we wanted.
Okay, what's the other one?
AUGUR, which means like, a portent or something.
I don't think I've ever even heard that word.
Auger. It does not augur well.
It sounds very British to me. And
well,
you said it was Leander that wrote that word, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, hopefully the site can recover. Let's see here, Lewis.
Yeah.
Before we dive into all the fun, and we have a lot of stuff here, we're going to be talking about the extra rugged Apple Watch for athletes that is incoming. We're going to be talking about the iOS 16 features that won't be available at launch. We got another giveaway to talk about. I will give you guys an update on how you can get a Mac Studio for a huge discount. We got a new lockdown mode coming to iOS 16 that is Apple's new way of basically locking down your phones that, all the hackers and, governments of the world can't break into it, which is, super unexpected. And then really interesting announcement from the White House this week about the U.S.'s highest honor going to some people that, I think you're going to know. And pretty cool announcement. So before we...
Did you get one?
Well, but it's been years,
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So it was quite a while ago. And it's for, being a pioneer in podcasting.
Sure.
Entertaining the masses, That was great. It was in the Clinton era. It was, he's like, I really like what you're doing over there, Efron. And he gave me that thumb, and I was like, thank you, Mr. Clinton. And he played sax solo for me. It was a very special moment in my life. Let's see here. Let me give a thanks to Squarespace for supporting this episode. Squarespace has everything you need to sell anything online. How do I know? Because I use it. That's how. I've built several Squarespace websites. Couldn't be easier. Squarespace.com/cultcast to get started. And you pick a template. You can have a website up in minutes if you want. You can just launch something with one of the templates they have available. Or you can do what I did and you just go through and you can customize absolutely everything. And you can make the website look uniquely yours without a ton of effort, and you don't have to know how to code. Everything is drag and drop. It really is like, you remember iWeb, Lewis? You remember what Apple was trying to do with iWeb? That application where they let you build a website and launch it online. It was part of the iWork suite.
Jeez, yeah, I
Taking
never
it way
used
back.
it. Never used it.
Yeah, it was actually great. I mean, if you didn't know how to build a website, it would allow you to build a website very easily and then just launch it and update it yourself. And that's kind of analogous to what Squarespace is. I mean, Squarespace's platform looks 1,000 times better and is actually way easier than iWorks was or iWeb was. But it's kind of that same premise. You can build a website easily, manage it yourself, make it look beautiful, and then launch it and actually be able to manage it from there on going forward all by yourself. So it's a really unique platform, unlike the normal way of building a website, which is a hellscape of coding and working with developers and designers and all the other people that you need to like do the design and like the coding and everything. It's a lot of work. So if you're ready to get started, if you want to build an e-commerce site, maybe you are interested in building like a paid membership website. You want to allow people to book time on your calendar. All that stuff is built into your Squarespace website, and it will look beautiful on any device that visits. Head on over to squarespace.com/cultcast to get started. Squarespace.com/cultcast. And if you like what you have after the trial, use code cultcast at checkout to save 10% off your first purchase. All right, Lewis, let's dive right in. We've been talking about this extra rugged Apple Watch for months now. I don't even know how long. And we didn't even know if it was actually going to happen. We just kept hearing rumors that it was. And now we've got the Germinator coming in and saying, yes, indeed, it is happening. And not only is it happening, but it's incoming. So if you're excited about a extreme sports edition of the Apple Watch, well, here you go.
Yeah, so this thing's supposed to be coming this fall alongside Series 8, and it's supposed to be bringing the biggest screen yet. That's the big headline, right? Biggest screen yet. Devil's in the details. Current one measures 1.9 inches. This one's supposed to be almost 2 inches.
Yeah, I was noticing that too when I saw the headline.
Did you notice? It's like, yeah, okay.
Did German say like it's 7% more in screen size or something?
Yeah.
But 7%, that's not nothing.
No, it's great. As I wrote in this post, it's on your wrist. Every little scrap, every little pixel counts. This thing supposedly it's also going to have a beefier battery, which is, I think you were the first person to ever like make me think about that. Oh yeah, beefier battery. That of course, because if you're an athlete and you're out there, you're doing, a 4-hour run.
Yeah,
you're going to need it. You're going to need a beefier battery.
I mean, yeah, or you're doing like a triathlon or something where you're literally involved in the activity for like a day, and there's no way the Apple Watch could keep up with that in its current form.
I know. I took like 2 walks yesterday from the car shop to the BART, and then from the BART to my house. And by the end of the day, my Apple Watch was all I did was start an outdoor walk, right? And by the end of the day, watch is dead. If you're an actual athlete, it doesn't have enough battery life as it stands.
Dipsy Doo from the chat is saying with inflation, 1.9 inches is actually now like 4 inches, which is actually a great point. So there is that. Keep that into account. I just want to mention real fast, too, for those of you viewing, I'm showing a mock-up, a Cultimac mock-up of what the watch may look like. My guess is it will look nothing like this. This is just like a product concept. So don't think that this is what it's going to look like because I'm sure it will look much better.
Wow, listen to you. Listen to you dissing our mock-ups.
Look, all I'm saying is this image is great for a mock-up, but from an Apple design standard perspective, there's room for improvement.
Yeah, well, so that's the one thing that was really strange about this story that Gurman wrote. And he's been talking about this on and off for over a year now, and he has said like, beefier version, much more rugged, whatever. Right, and I think people have kind of made this jump that it's going to be like a G-Shock, right? It's going to look like
Yeah.
one of these crazy ones from when did those things start? Like the 80s or something. Um, but like a real like crazy big thing. But if you read this thing, I mean, he's literally saying the screen is going to be like a tenth of an inch bigger, and it's going to be beefier battery, and it's going to have a metal case. He didn't say it's going to have a ruggedized, like rubberized case. He says it's going to have a stronger metal case. It's
Right.
not going to be aluminum. So it really made me start wondering, like, what exactly is this thing going to look like? I mean, it may look just basically like a slightly bulked up Apple Watch.
Yeah, it's going to be a ruggedized version of the Apple Watch that we have now, is what it
It
sounds like.
just basically look like it, but it's made out of steel, which the watch already is.
Yeah.
And slightly, fatter or something. I don't know. It's really odd. It was really short on details about what the design itself might look like. There's no mention really. I mean, stronger. In fact, if you listen to the actual thing, sports-oriented smartwatch with a beefier battery, more shatter-resistant screen, it almost sounds, slightly larger screen. It almost sounds like the way they pitched Apple Watch Series 7, right? It's got the biggest screen ever. It's the most rugged ever, right? All those are exactly the things that they said about Apple Watch Series 7. Bigger screen, best, brightest screen ever, and it's more impact resistant than ever. So
you're not saying that you think that this version is going to be the S8, are you?
no, I'm not
Okay.
saying that at all. I'm just saying it doesn't sound like it may not be that different from the Series 8. I mean, I have no idea what to expect. At this point, I don't know if anybody knows what to expect, what the thing's actually going to look
Yeah,
like.
that's an interesting point. Like, is it going to just be a ruggedized version of the S8, the Apple Watch Series 8, we should say? Let's not use acronyms here.
S8.
Is that an acronym? S8? It's like a contraction.
Shorthand? I don't know.
I guess, yeah. And Gurman did say it's supposed to have bigger battery life too. So what I'm hoping and what I'm imagining is and you know what? Wouldn't it be funny if this render that we have on Cold to Mac actually is correct? Because he's saying it's going to have a metal band, it's going to have a ruggedized, more rugged look, right? A ruggedized body. And I wonder if they're going to change the housing of it to actually be different, and then make it thicker so that it can have more battery capacity inside. Because if you're only making the screen slightly larger, you could potentially do that without actually changing the size of the Apple Watch case itself, right? They could just
That's what they did last time.
Exactly. So they could just remove the bezels or shrink the bezels and make the screen a little bit larger. And so the watch itself really wouldn't get any bigger. So how would they include more battery life in there? They'd have to make it thicker, which
I just figured it out.
What?
It's going to be like the difference between a Apple TV. I mean, sorry, a Mac Mini and a Mac Studio. It's going to be like it's just going to be just a regular Apple Watch. It's going to be like a full half-inch thick.
I wouldn't mind that. It's funny because I wear the 41 millimeter Apple Watch because
so tiny on your frail little wrist.
Dude, I used the other one and it looked ridiculous. I was like, this looks like Clown Watch, because it's very how do I describe this? It's like delicate looking, but it's also very large. So I just think it looks clownish on people that don't have like massive, huge wrists. And so if I were to wear a larger watch, I would really need them to beef up the whole thing and not just make it bigger from a circumference, like all the way around, right? Like they would have to make it thicker, wider, longer. They would have to really beef that thing up. That's why people love G-Shock watches. Those things are insane. Should I try to bring one up for those of you that don't know? I'm sure everyone has seen a G-Shock watch. But the Casio G-Shock is a series of like hyper rugged watches, and they're totally absurd. I mean, they have these huge cases. Yeah, these are not actually a great example.
They're covered with rubber and they're black. They look like something a deep sea diver or a Navy SEAL would wear, right?
Yeah.
And
they're enormous on your wrist. Actually, this one's kind of cool. Okay, so I'm looking at G-Shock watches. This one's actually pretty cool. And they've got different kinds. So there's some that have like medium-sized cases. Yeah, like that's a cool watch. Is that like translucent or something? Dude, I would totally wear that.
Don't make me pull this up. Oh, geez, I'm gonna have to pull it up.
I'm trying to look for one of the super beefy G-Shocks. What were you gonna say?
Well, yeah, I mean, when I was doing this post yesterday about this and looking into it again, I was trying to find like some evidence that anybody ever really predicted that it would look anything like that. I mean, I think we all sort of jumped to the conclusion that if Apple makes a rugged Apple Watch, it's going to look like
Yeah,
that. But
you're right.
that, reading this latest story, I started going, geez, maybe it's just going to be
A normal
pretty
Apple
similar.
Watch that is slightly more rugged than the one, and by more rugged, it's like metal band. Maybe it's gonna come in the steel case, like you say, and then it might be slightly thicker for more battery life. I bet you that's what's gonna happen.
Wouldn't that be weird if it just turns out to be like more of the
No,
same,
no, it
very similar?
no. In fact, it would fall into the the recent relevant history of Apple Watch, right? Like that's we keep expecting these big changes. We keep expecting them to make these big aesthetic changes, and nothing happens. It's just been the same forever.
Nothing.
So maybe this is the year, but somehow I don't think so, because with all of these production problems that Apple's having, it would make more sense for them to just to keep their same production line and change it in some small aesthetic ways. But um, I would love to see them do something a little bit more bold. Man, these G Shocks really are cool watches.
The
Yeah,
other thing about this was, and this is just kind of Gurman guessing,
yeah.
well, he said he thought that the price was going to be, uh, well, he said pricier than the
Subs-
standard stainless steel Apple Watch,
mhm.
which starts at $699.
Mhm.
So pricier than that, which is starting to be more money than I want to spend on an Apple Watch.
Yeah, it depends on what they give you. If they released a watch that had 3 days of battery life, would you go
Well,
for that? I mean,
geez,
that would be
I
pretty
mean,
tempting.
I keep looking on Twitter and I see people are like, yeah, well, get back to me when it lasts for 7 days or 30 days if I'm not, on it, right? So, yeah, I don't know. The stuck at 1 day of battery life and not even that if you actually use it is
Yeah.
a little bit underwhelming. You'd think that they could come up with something that could make it a little bit more long lasting. We'll see. I don't know, man. 3 days. I don't know how much difference that makes to me. I mean, I guess it would be better for sure. We'll
Uh,
see.
all right, we got iCave Dave here in the chat saying he thinks the G Shocks look horrific. Come on, iCave Dave. What do you live in an iCave? Look at this thing. That is a cool watch. That is a beautiful watch. G Shocks are definitely divisive devices. People
Yeah,
seem to either love them or they hate them. They have a bold aesthetic, that's for sure.
right.
But that's a cool one, and I like the super beefy ones, like the monochromatic super beefy ones, the ones that are all white or all green or all one color. I think they're pretty cool, man. But
So basically, you want it to look like our mock-ups.
well, yeah, I would say that these mock-ups definitely are inspired by G-Shock
Oh, for
here.
sure.
You know?
That's what he. I mean, and in his defense, Graham just said, "Hey, I don't have any inside information on what this would look like, but for a variety of reasons, if you read his post, he goes, oh well, this reason, this reason, this reason, it could look something like this. This is the way it could work out." And I think he even wrote, obviously it'll look better than this because Apple has a team of designers. But
Right. You know what the interesting thing is? Oh, we're really beating this horse, but the interesting thing is Apple came out with the Apple Watch, and I don't think they knew what the heck to do with that thing. Remember when you could do digital touch and like
oh,
send your
jeez,
heart or
don't
digital
remind me.
heartbeat? It sends your heartbeat to like your friends and stuff. I don't even know if you can still do that. I don't think so. But you couldn't really. They didn't really have a clear vision on what they were going to do with Apple Watch, and then they kind of moved into the whole fitness realm, which I feel like still hasn't really. They probably have not moved it into the realm of where they had hoped it would be. And then Garmin came along. And Garmin started making these watches that are fit for people doing extreme sports. They have great battery life. They have all of these like metrics for extreme athletes. And my two neighbors are like triathletes. They do like they go running together every day. They go and do triathlons and stuff, and they both have Garmin's and they love them. And I wonder if Apple's looking at that market and they're thinking like, "Dang, how did we let that go? Like that could have been us, y'all. And now they're going to start trying to move more in that direction.
Well, how much? I mean, those things all cost.
They're
I'm
cheaper
just
than
now
the
looking at
Apple
the Garmin
Watch.
site. They're like $4.99
Yeah,
at max,
yeah,
at most.
and they have great battery life too.
Don't.
Like some of them I think last for 30 days.
Yeah, that's what I was reading about. And I mean, I don't have any experience with these kinds of things. Um, One of the things that Gurman said in his report is like, oh, maybe Apple uses that larger screen to display more information. I mean, to be honest, it doesn't sound like it's that much larger of a
It's not
screen.
that much
So
larger. It's like it's 7% large. So
I,
yeah, you might get some more space for complications, but it was funny that larger screen was part of the headline because, well, yeah, it's larger, but it's not that much larger. Going from 1.9 inch to 2 inches, that's barely larger.
almost 2 inches, I
Oh,
think.
almost 2 inches. Yeah. Oh yeah. Wait, was it like 1.99 inches?
It's a freaking rounding
Yeah,
error.
exactly. So there you go. There's your Apple Watch news. But you know what? I'm not I'm not gonna hate on Apple for trying to do something new and novel. This will be cool. Let's wait and see what they do, and hopefully they won't come out of the ballpark with some insane price. You know,
Right.
because sometimes people go to the ballpark and they're like, and they come out and their prices are insane. We don't want them doing that.
That's what scares me, man. I was getting all excited about it because I didn't upgrade the last couple of years, well, the last year, and I was hoping that this thing would be, kind of a lot different, a different look that would actually somehow look really cool. Look like one of those awesome watches that like the pro darts players wear. And I was going, well, geez, what if it just looks like the regular Apple Watch, but it's slightly bigger?
Yeah,
Nothing wrong with that, I guess, but
that might be where we're
I,
headed.
I just hope it's not just that slightly different giant price tag, which is kind of what it sounds like.
You know what I want, Lewis? You probably
To move on.
well, definitely that. But have you ever heard of the game Fallout?
Yeah.
Oh, you have. Wow, I'm shocked.
Well, I mean, I've heard of it. I've never played it.
Okay. There is this game called Fallout. It's like a post-apocalyptic game. And the character in the game is wearing this computer on his arm called the Pip Boy. And that's what I want Apple to make. It has all these like health statistics built in. It measures your rad so you know if you're in too much radiation. That's what I'm talking about right there. Imagine if for those of you listening, it's like this computer that snaps onto your entire forearm and it has a giant CRT built into it.
It looks like something from Buck Rogers.
And you could
Wow.
tell like how much health you had left, how many bullet holes you had in you. Useful stuff.
I don't think that's what the Apple Watch Rugged Edition is going to look like.
You know what we should do? No joke. I should Photoshop the screen out of this and have it and put in like a version of Watch OS, and then we should release this on Cult of Mac as like a serious story, like sneak peek at Apple Watch Series 8, and just see how many people believe it. It's gonna be like one of those Man on the Street episodes where they go out and they show people like a fake product, or remember was it like Jimmy Kimmel or something? They took like the iPad Mini out onto the street when it was first released, and they told people it was the new iPhone, and they asked them what they thought of it, and people were like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. Look how big the screen was and stuff, and you could like barely hold it in one hand, right?
I mean, it essentially is a big iPhone.
Yeah, you're right.
What's the
Actually,
difference?
that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You mock that up. Yeah,
You
and
want me to write that up?
we'll just
Okay.
like blow what little journalistic integrity we have just completely out of the water.
Look, there's
It's a
not
shame
much
it's
left.
not April.
Yeah,
That would be
but
perfect for April 1st.
Yeah, you're right. We should save that for April. Let's really go out with a bang.
Save it for April.
Okay, let's move on. Let's see here. I think we sufficiently flogged that one. What do you think? Yeah, we covered all those parts of the story. Oh yeah, the one last thing that we should mention is the screen more shadow resistant. If we forgot to bring that up, brawny metal case. I think we talked about that. Hefty price bump, but of course we expected nothing less. And available this fall. So whenever
the same, slightly the same chip as the Series 8.
Oh well, that's no one seems to care about that. I was going to talk about how Ming-Chi Kuo said this is going to be Apple's strategy going forward for iPhone. I know I'm skipping devices here, but he was saying that Apple's going to be mainly focused on chips for iPads, or excuse me, for iPads. Where did that come from?
For
For
Macs.
Macs for a while. Isn't that crazy?
Well, I think he said that they have been.
Yeah.
And, I mean, if you look at what's happened in the past couple of years, there's been very little change in the iPhone and Apple Watch.
Mm-hmm.
They've started using those chips in other devices, which is awesome. But they really seem to have concentrated on the Mac stuff, which
But he was
they
also
had to
saying
do.
the strategy going forward is going to be to leave the older chip in the non-Pro model iPhone and put the new chip in the Pro model phones, which I think is incredibly stingy.
It makes
But-
perfect sense, though, because, I mean, for the longest time, it's like, what's the real difference? Oh, it's got a better camera.
Yeah, well, I guess if there aren't going to be huge performance upgrades, but then there was a good article out by Gurman. I hate to give the guy credit, but it was a good article. And he was talking about how Apple's engineering teams seem like they're strained, and they're focusing a lot of their engineering talent on creating these new Apple Silicon chips for Macs, which is really interesting because Macs are a very small part of Apple's business. I mean, I'm thrilled, as the Mac is one of my favorite devices that they make, right? I'm like the Mac guy, and that's usually the thing that I get the most excited about. And so for that reason, it seems like maybe Apple is not going to be putting as much focus on updating their chips for their iPhones in the huge ways that they were previously. And he was saying that with the iPhone 13, they were actually comparing the performance of the iPhone 13 to other competitive devices as opposed to what they normally do, which is talk about the performance increases versus previous iPhones. And they've stopped doing that.
Right.
Which is interesting, and when you look at the increase in performance, I'm going on a tangent here. I'll try to keep this really short, but I do find this to be interesting, and maybe people don't care about this, but like when you look at the advantages or the increases in performance from a like a CPU perspective, like for me, the thing that I'm always looking for is how much did the single core performance advance, because the multi-core performance is kind of a parlor trick, right? Like you could say, oh, multi-core performance has increased 30%. Well, it's like, okay, well, how many more cores did you add? Like maybe you didn't actually improve your architecture in any way. You just added more cores. You just threw more cores in there. But you can only use so many cores at one time, so that extra horsepower may not do you any good, whereas actual increases in speed in single-core performance always makes a difference, because that's primarily what gets used when you're just browsing the internet and doing things that don't use huge, multi-score or multi-core core sets. And the increase in speed of the M2 over the M1 in single core performance really wasn't that great. I think the benchmark that I saw was like 11%, and I'm like, 11% is like what Intel was doing, year or generation over generation. That's like it's decent, but it's not great. Like 20% would be great. Anything more than 20% would be insane. So, their single core performance in the M2 not as not as huge as I was hoping it was going to be. Anyway, tangent over. Let's see here. I keep talking about that, but no one cares about single core performance, but me. Let's move on. Let's talk about iOS 16. And iOS 16, it's coming out soon. Coming to an iPhone near you. And we have a list of features that we were promised, but it looks like they're not going to be available at launch. And so I thought you guys might want to know about these. And plus, you may not even remember what the features were in iOS 16. I was like refreshing the list. Some of these I didn't even remember. And so just a heads up here. Here's a list of iOS 16 features that are not going to be ready at launch. Will be coming afterwards. Oh, everyone's excited about lockdown mode. Lock it down, baby. Oh, yeah. I'm going full lockdown. No one's going to be texting me, FaceTime calling me. Unless I know you, you don't exist to me anymore. All right, so Freeform, number one. I don't know if you guys remember this. Freeform was like a virtual, I guess is a virtual whiteboard app that will enable collaboration on iPhone, iPad, and Mac. And it's like a big digital whiteboard. So if you're looking forward to that, you're going to have to wait. It looks like this app is not going to be available when iOS 16 launches. Oh, cool. You'll be able to use Freeform over FaceTime sessions. So
I think this looks really cool. I mean, this is one of the things that during the WWDC keynote, I was like, wow, that seems pretty powerful if they can make that work in a sensible way.
Yeah, it's also interesting because Apple isn't exactly well known for their collaboration apps. You know what I mean? like uh, Google apps are so easy to use and so powerful, and it's so easy to like open a Google Doc, and we could be working in there at the same time. It's crazy. And Apple, I know Apple does that too in iWork, but they're kind of behind the curve here. All right, Matter. This is kind of a bummer. Matter is the upcoming smart home standard that's going to it's going to matter. Well, who wrote this?
I don't know, but it's
Rajesh, give Rajesh a high
true.
five.
Hey.
Give Rajesh a high five. Let's see here. The standard is maintained by the Connectivity Standard Alliance. Right. So for those of you that don't remember or don't know what Matter is, this is something that if you use HomeKit is going to be really exciting because it will allow your Apple devices to work better with devices from other companies. So like, Google, Samsung, Amazon. And Google and Amazon, they own the IoT world. Unfortunately, Apple hasn't because I think they had like the licensing thing, at the very start, and a lot of companies were hesitant to like want to license their products with Apple to have them work with HomeKit, which Apple loosened up on later, and instead of having them install like actual hardware into their products, now they have like software that the companies can work on to have their products be made HomeKit certified after the fact without having to add, Apple specific hardware into their actual product. And I'm sure that reduced the licensing fee and stuff too. But this Matter standard is going to allow your Apple devices to work better with other manufacturers, but it's also going to allow other manufacturers to work well with your Apple devices. So what I'm hoping, I'm not sure this is the way it's going to work, but what I'm hoping is that you could buy Alexa devices. Oh, sorry, I said its name. Google devices.
I said its name.
And then you could buy those and have them work with your HomeKit devices so that you don't have to spend the premium on HomeKit devices, which you normally have to spend. And you can buy the light switches from Costco that cost like $8 because they're who enabled, and have them work with your devices on your HomeKit network, which would be really cool. Excuse me. Oh man, now here's a major bummer, Lewis. Did you know Game Center still existed?
I actually had to Google that because I for some reason I thought they shut it down.
Oh, I did too, actually. I don't know why I thought that, but apparently not. So SharePlay integration is coming to Game Center. That's going to be not out right away when iOS 16 releases. Apple is bringing SharePlay integration to Game Center in iOS 16. I haven't opened Game Center since it looked like a poker table. Do you remember that whole design they used to have? No, you don't know. You don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Right.
been a while. The feature will let you play games with a friend or family member while on a FaceTime call. Won't be available at launch. That actually does sound kind of cool.
Does it?
Live activities is a new major. Well, I'm trying to keep it upbeat here, Lewis. Not the most
Be
amazing
optimistic,
feature
yeah.
I've ever heard, but Live activities is a new major iOS 16 lock screen feature. It will provide you with real-time information on the things that need constant attention, food delivery status, game scores, and more. This one is also delayed. CarPlay improvements. Apple showed CarPlay at WWDC 22. Yeah, we know. But it looks like that is not going to launch when iOS 16 comes out. And then web push notifications. Apple has been laying the groundwork for web push notifications since iOS 15.4 beta. This is interesting. I wonder why they're doing this. The long-awaited feature will let web apps send alerts to mobile Safari the way regular apps do. This is interesting. I actually didn't know that this was coming. And I think the reason they may be adding this is because it gives them ammo for their "you shouldn't force us to allow side loading" argument, right? Because one of the biggest reasons you would want to sideload is because your regular app can send you notifications, can do things that a web app couldn't do. And if they give that to you on a web app, maybe it gives them a little bit of ammunition to be like, well, you don't need to regulate us because now there's a workaround. Although, I don't know if you saw that story, Lewis, about the EU. We are the only ones covering this story. We are the only
Really?
ones. I never see anyone else cover it. I mean, it's not a sexy topic to talk about. Let me see if I can find it. Whoops.
The Digital Markets Act you're talking about?
Is that what it's called?
Yeah. The thing that the EU just basically said, yeah, we're going to force all these changes on all these companies, Apple and everyone else.
Yeah. Okay, it wasn't the popular this week on Cultimac, but yeah. So the story
Yeah, that thing
being
got
that,
blown up.
well, and that's not clearly not the most popular anymore. I was actually surprised to see it was there at all because no one seems to care. But
Right.
it's the regulations that the EU is working on and recently passed. It's not made law yet, but I think like the regulation has passed some level of EU governance, and it forces Apple to do all of these things with iOS, including allowing sideloading, alternate app stores, alternate payments, all this stuff. And I think it's going to get passed. I mean, the writing seems like it's on the wall, and if that happens, iOS is going to change a lot. And you may even be able to use completely alternate app stores because Apple's going to be forced to do it. Because there's no way they're going to maintain different iOSs for Europe and then for the rest of the world. I don't foresee that happening at all.
iOS 16 EU edition.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so there you go. Those are all the features that are going to be held out from launch in iOS 16. I thought you guys might find that interesting. Before we move on and talk about Mac Studio and how you can get a nice little discount on those, which didn't take very long. Louis, do you want to talk about the giveaway real quick? Let's do the giveaway.
Yeah, let's just go right into that. It's the same one as last week. If you didn't hear and you didn't sign up yet, it's for the Switch Easy Mag Power 4-in-1 magnetic wireless charging stand. What a long name that is.
You did it, though.
I got through it. I didn't even have to stop for a sip of water. Anyway, this is a MagSafe compatible multi-device wireless charger that also has a nightlight. So it's if you ever had a MagSafe charger, you know they're awesome. You just basically put your iPhone in the general direction of it, and it just snaps right into place, starts charging instantly. Awesome. This thing's kind of really compact. It'll charge Apple Watch, iPhone, and AirPods if you got one of the wireless charging cases, plus a USB out the back, right? So this thing is on sale for $84.99 in the Cultimac store, but right now we're giving away 2 of them in this giveaway. Go to the front page, cultimac.com, scroll down to where the giveaway is, enter. Just all you gotta do is sign up for our newsletter, which is free. You're gonna love that, by the way, even if there is the occasional typo.
El Caney authored.
Yeah, Lander's in there writing that thing every day.
It comes out every day.
It's called Cult of Mac Today.
I thought it was weekly.
Oh, now see, let's dive into this now. So we've got Cult of Mac Today, which is what you're signed up for this thing. We also have the Weekender, which comes out every Saturday. Okay. So Cult of Mac Today is Monday through Friday.
So you get one every day of the week if you want.
Yeah. Stay in the loop.
Stay in the loop every single day.
Obviously, there's some overlap. Weekender is like for people who just want one thing a week. It's got basically all the top stories of the week. Cult of Mac Today is the day's stuff. Yeah. You can go and you can enter and you'll get that newsletter, and you can, I don't even think you have to sign up for the newsletter. I think you could sign up for, maybe just like visit our Twitter page or something. I can't even remember. I mean, it kind of varies like week to week, like what you have to do to enter. But it never costs anything to enter. Always free. This is, like I said, we're giving away 2. Thank you, Switch Easy, for sponsoring this giveaway. And I think if you win one, you can be very happy. And I think if you go and enter, you have at least a decent shot.
You got a chance. That's all I'm saying. All right, cool. So just head to cultimac.com, scroll down until you see the giveaway, and you can go in there and enter. And you know what? Give it a shot. You might just win something. Let me just mention here real quick, Mac Studio, man. Now's the time to buy one if you want one, especially because I stink. I stink. That's true.
Oh.
But I also think that they are still quite delayed because Apple's manufacturing woes here. But they finally landed in the refurbished store. And I don't know how long it normally takes for things to land in the refurbished store, but doesn't that seem oddly fast?
Like, it does seem pretty fast.
It just came out, and they've already got them in the refurbished store. If you don't know how to get to the refurbished store, just go to apple.com, scroll the way down, and then click on refurbished and clearance. And then you can shop the different refurbished stores. If you click on Mac here, it will take you to the Mac refurbished store. Why is this taking so long to load? Apple, pay for some bandwidth here. And as you can see, they have all the different Mac models here. I'm waiting on a new MacBook Pro myself. Oh man, nothing but junky 13.3-inch M1 MacBook Pros.
Jeez.
And then you go down here to Mac Studio. Let's see what they have. Oh wow, they must just restocked. Look at all this stuff. Holy moly! They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different models. And you can see they have every model from like the M1 Max version, which is a steal of a deal. I mean, so they knock 10% off the price. Sometimes it's more. In fact, if they don't tell you exactly how much the discount is, I think it's more than 10%. Yeah, this one's 10% as well. Oh no, but this one says save $400. So go in here, check it out, and if you're looking for a great deal, I mean, you can get the 20 core, 48 or the 20 core. I can't say this. You can get the Ultra, the M1 Ultra with 20 core CPU, 48 core GPU. This is the version I have. It's a monster. You get it for $3,600. That is $400 off, and I doubt that many of you out there know anyone that works for Apple. But if you do, your friends at Apple can get you an additional 15% off items in the refurbished store, which is one heck of a price. So, and they don't have to use like their special like personal discounts to do that. Like they can just get you 15% off and have it shipped, directly to your house. They're not doing anything like
sketchy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's totally allowed. So if you know someone that works
really?
at Apple,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they can just order it for you.
Wow.
And get you a discount. So yeah, I think the only time you might run into sketchiness is like if they're using like their 25% discount or something. Which is also allowed. They have a friends and family discount they can use for that as well. But they have like different level discounts. But for the 25% off, they only get a certain number of those. And with the 15% off discount, I don't think they're not limited in how many they can do. So they're much more willing to help you with that type of thing. So if you know someone that works at Apple, I would ask them. Because if you get an additional 15% off on this price, I mean, that's a crazy good deal. So if you've been waiting for a Mac Pro or Mac Studio, now's the time. But you know what? Think twice before you buy one. Because I bought one, and I would say for the most part, at least at this time, it just sits in my studio here.
See, that's why they got him in there. It's because so many people did what you did. Like, oh, I got to get it. And then they're like,
and then they return them.
Yeah.
These are all the people that reviewed them on YouTube. These are all the YouTube reviews. I mean, it's a great computer. It's powerful as heck. I love it. But the thing about it is, and I think I didn't think that this would weigh into the use case for me as much as it actually does, is just how do I put this? How practical my MacBook Pro is, right? Like I can just take it with me wherever I want. If I want to work on the couch, I can do that. And when I got the Mac Studio, I thought, okay, well, I'll just work at my desk more often. And no, I'm not. So my Mac Studio just sits there doing Time Machine backups.
Wow.
And even editing the show, which I thought for sure I would do on the Mac Studio, I don't. And I'm doing on my 2019 MacBook Pro. Isn't that sad?
Something's wrong with this equation.
Yeah. So I've played with the idea of selling it, but I don't think I'm going to do that, at least not now. I'm waiting to reboot my YouTube channel and see how I like editing video on it, because I'm not doing a lot of video editing right now, and then I'll make my decision. But I just it's just sitting here and I'm barely working on it. I'm working primarily on my 2019 MacBook Pro, and I'm like, that's the evidence right there, is I'm just always working on the older machine. Why? Because it's portable. So I'm like, I probably should just got a MacBook Pro. But
jeez,
we'll see. I haven't given up yet, but all I'm saying is, if you're gonna get a Mac Studio, are you a person that is definitely gonna work at your desk all the time on your Mac Studio? Because if you're not, the power of it may not be worth the loss of the portability. That's all I'm saying.
You mean a desktop machine will be used at your desk?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I suppose you could carry it with you if you want. And battery backups.
Did you ever see Waterfield Design came out with a case just for it?
I'm not sure if I saw that, but I do remember seeing some cases for the Mac Studio.
Pretty cool.
I mean, it's super portable. Like if you want to take it somewhere,
Smaller than a bowling ball.
Yeah, it's probably about half the size of a bowling ball. I had to look over there. All right, let's see here.
Can't even remember how big it is.
I barely even look
that
at
is
it.
saying something.
I mean, literally, I hear it connect to my NAS like every so often and start doing a backup, and I'm like, it's not. I mean, there's nothing to back up. I haven't even touched it. I barely even touched it. And the other thing that I've mentioned before is the trackpad keyboard placement, the arrangement, and how they're flush on the MacBook Pro is such an ideal position for the keyboard and the trackpad. And the trackpad keyboard combo on the Mac Studio, like the trackpad, the external one, it kind of has like a little slant to it, which I don't love. And so I just find like I don't love the orientation of the keyboard and the trackpad together as much as I like them on my MacBook Pro. They don't feel as comfortable to me.
Weird.
So there's that too. You know what I mean?
It's just extra weird.
Yeah. Anyway.
I mean, usually like the laptop, I think of laptop, I think physical pain.
What do you mean? Like you don't
I don't like using a laptop. I like to have a
you
separate
like to have a
keyboard and a separate mouse or yeah.
Yeah. I do too.
For sure.
I do too when I'm at a desk. But usually when I'm using my Mac, I'm not at my desk because it's later in the day, it's in the evening or something.
So you're just working from a couch.
Yeah.
Working from a lazy boy.
Exactly. Like if I were using it all day every day, I would love doing that. And that would be the ideal scenario. But that's not where I'm at right now. Okay, so
got it.
Let's talk about one other feature of iOS 16 that we missed, Lewis.
Missed?
The new lockdown mode. Well, I probably should have talked about it when we were talking about iOS 16. But
this is its own bit, right? I mean, this is a full press release all on its own.
Absolutely, but we were just talking about iOS 16 and then we moved on, and now here we are back. But that's okay because this was kind of announced out of nowhere. I don't think anyone was expecting this. And a lot of people seem to be excited about this. Although I would imagine most people would not want to use this mode because it's, I'm going to guess, horrendously oppressive. Like anytime you want to do anything, it's like that Vista commercial, that Get a Mac Vista commercial. It's like, services is asking for, permission to use your mouse, approve or deny. It's like, it's going to be like that. It's going to be terrible, but it will make you safe.
Yeah. So it's a new hyper secure mode called lockdown mode, and it's supposed to protect. And this is just iPhones. It's iPhones, iPads, and Macs from, this is Apple's words, quote, highly targeted cyber attacks from private companies developing state-sponsored mercenary spyware. That's a lot of big words. And they made this up for like journalists, politicians, activists, people who wind up with Pegasus on their phone, getting tracked by a government somewhere, right? This is going to be part of iOS 16, iPad OS 16, and Mac OS Ventura when these things come out later this year. Don't know if they're going to be there right at the very beginning, but I guess it's in the latest beta. So Apple created this in response to Pegasus, which is made by NSO Group, the spyware, which we've all heard about for years. That's only supposed to be used by legitimate governments against criminals, but every once in a while, there have been accusations of misuse.
It's just like TC says, right? It's like the reason they don't want to create any backdoors is because people then try to use those backdoors for nefarious reasons. And let me tell you one thing you probably already know. You don't want anyone using your backdoor for a nefarious reason. You know what I'm saying, Lewis?
Oh, heavens.
I know I don't have to tell you that, but it is something worth mentioning.
I was going to read this quote from this guy from Apple, their head of security engineering and architecture. His name is Ivan Stick or something. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it. Anyway, he says lockdown mode is groundbreaking capability that reflects our unwavering commitment to protecting users from even the rarest, most sophisticated attacks. While the vast majority of users will never be the victims of highly targeted cyber attacks, we will work tirelessly to protect the small number of users who are. That includes continuing to design defenses specifically for these users. I mean, so yeah, they made a big splash with this. They put out a press release, full thing, like, and they're basically saying, hey, this is almost for no one. This is for people who are targeted by, crazy dictator regimes and spy states and things like that. It, so, to your point about, are you going to want to use this? I mean, no, you're not unless you're like in danger, basically. It blocks most attachment types in the Messages app, blocks incoming FaceTime calls unless you've called that person before. Does all kinds of things, blocks JavaScript stuff in the browser, can't do configuration profiles. It's just
My
all
favorite.
this. It's just like it's basically like
Basically, all the
full
stuff
lockdown mode.
that makes your phone easy to
I mean,
use.
you could just go
All that
ahead and
stuff
turn
is
the
gonna be
phone
turned
off,
up.
I guess, with like extra lockdown mode. Just turn it off. Um,
I feel like it might
but
just be easier to get a flip phone.
Apple's plans to, they say they're going to keep making it better over time, keep adding new protections. So, you know, it's one of those things that's not really probably of use to just about anyone. But
But it does highlight Apple's unbelievable commitment to securing your phone. I mean, the fact that so few people would actually use this, and yet it's being developed, and Apple said this is not the end of it. Like, this is the beginning. Excuse me. And they're going to keep creating new features that will and improving lockdown mode to make it even better. So
sure,
this is just the start. And again, I can only imagine it's going to be a fraction of people who actually might use something like this. Like, maybe if you were the leader of a country that was under attack, you might want to use this mode, right?
well,
Uh,
if you're a journalist reporting on something in Saudi Arabia,
yeah,
you might decide that it might be worth to turn that on.
yeah, and in that case, it actually might be. So, a very cool new feature, something that we weren't expecting, something that I didn't hear anyone asking for, but it just illustrates Apple's unwavering dedication to security of your device. And maybe they kind of felt responsible for these phones that were being broken into with these tools that Apple never intended to be used the way they're being used. And so now they're like, okay, we got to figure out how we can secure these phones. And I think one of the features that this phone enables that I'm not sure that you mentioned. Let me see if I can find it here in our notes. It says that it basically disables any connections via wires, so you can't brute force open the phone with one of those. You mentioned the name of the tool. I forget the name of it, but it's that tool that like brute forces codes into your phone until it unlocks itself.
Oh, I
Right?
can't remember
Do
the
you
name
know,
of
do
that.
you remember what I'm talking about? And so like
Yeah.
disables the ability for any device like that to work.
What is that thing called?
I don't know. It looked like a wacky octopus. I saw a picture of it. It was like this box with USB cables coming off of it, and like you plug it into your iPhone, and it would just brute force attack your phone with like code.
Gray key,
Is that what it
right?
was called? Did you remember the name of it, or did you Google it?
No, I use Google.
I was gonna say you're a galldarn genius. Holy moly! Gray box, gray key,
I think it's
gray
Gray key.
something.
Yeah, I think it's Gray key, but
Yeah. In any case, so
all these things that thank God none of us really have to deal with on a regular basis.
yeah. Now Elkaney on the other hand,
He-
this is a
he's he might actually be in lockdown mode right now in
yeah.
iOS 16 beta 3.
Yeah, he probably is, and he probably can't figure out how to get back into his device. He doesn't know how he ended up in lockdown mode. He's just there, and now he doesn't know why he can't get phone calls from anyone. And of course, he'll put his Mac into the same mode by accident right before he's ready to broadcast, and nothing will work, and we'll spend 2 hours trying to fix it. All right, I think that's pretty much all of like the Apple hardware news, software news here.
Big week. Kind of
God,
crazy.
I know. I honestly I couldn't believe it because I was telling Lewis, I was like, it's going to be an absolute a desert of Apple news until we get to September when we start getting close to the new hardware release cycle again. But we've had all these great stories. But we have one more great story to wrap up with, and I found this to be very touching. Does anyone remember Steve Jobs anymore? You know what I mean, Lewis? Doesn't it kind of feel like, as a culture, we're so far removed from him being active in Apple that a lot of people just don't really talk about him anymore? Have you noticed that?
Well, I might. I mean, I read about him every day because we've got these Today in Apple history posts that we do, right?
Yeah.
And we sometimes write new ones, oftentimes republish old ones, just update them, with the latest stuff. But yeah, it's weird. I find myself actually typing in Apple CEO Steve Jobs because it crosses my mind that somebody might go, "Who's the Steve Jobs you speak of?"
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it seems odd, but I mean, he has been gone for a while. So,
Hasn't he been gone for almost 9 years?
I believe
I find that hard to believe, but I think we had the 8-year anniversary of his
I
death in October.
I
I seem
think
to recall it being
I
8
think
years.
that's wrong.
Okay, how long has it been?
I This is a terrible thing. I hate to do this, but I believe it's 2011, which, if my math is correct, that is 11
Oh my
years.
gosh, you're right. You're right. It was 10 years last year. Wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
October 5th,
that's half a
2011.
generation.
I
I mean,
cannot believe it's been that long. That is so it's been almost 11 years.
there are people with iPhones now who, he was not alive when they were born.
Well, it's really confusing when I think about this because does that mean we've been doing this show for 11 years? I don't think so.
I like the way everything gets framed and how long the show's
Yeah,
been
well,
running.
the show's been such a
Uh,
has been such a significant part of my life for such a long time, and I'm truly confused. I honestly don't know how long we've been doing this show, and I keep trying to go back and look, but
get
iTunes will only
distracted.
show me so far back.
Oh, really?
And so, and we did like episodes that were like pre-released episodes, so I'm never really sure. I think we've been doing the show for 10 years. I honestly think that we accidentally missed our 10-year anniversary. I really believe that might be true.
That's embarrassing.
But I'm not sure. We might be on year 9 and
Oh,
almost at 10 years. So I really
wow.
have no idea. We've been doing this for so long that I really have no clue anymore. So we just keep going. We're like the band Menudo at this point. We just have like new people constantly coming and going.
like
Anyway, so that's when
like
I
the
think like I remember. Hold on, let me just finish this one last thought. I remember when Steve Jobs died that I was doing something with Cult of Mac, and I actually went down to the Apple Store. People were writing notes on the wall and leaving flowers and stuff, and I remember it being a significant story, and I thought we talked about it on the show, but maybe we didn't. Sorry, what were we gonna say?
nothing. Completely nothing.
All right, well, there you go. Sorry, we haven't even talked about the story yet. So
Yeah, let's get to the story.
let's get to the freaking story, Lewis. What are you doing? Where is my story? Where is it? I lost it. There we go. So this week it was announced that the United States is going to be giving the Presidential Medal of Freedom to a bunch of people, and guess who was on the list? Where is he? Stephen Jobs. Isn't that cool? So for those of you not from the U.S., the Medal of Freedom is basically like the highest honor that you can receive, I think, as a non-military personnel in the U.S. And I'll just read from the White House press release here. The Presidential Medal of Freedom is the nation's highest civilian honor. That's much more eloquent than what I said. Presented to individuals who have made exemplary contributions to the prosperity, values, or security of the United States, world peace, or other significant societal, public, or private endeavors. And when I saw that he was being given the medal, or I guess the award, is it a medal? Yeah, it's a medal. They put it around your neck. That's right. Because I remember them. I've seen the ceremony in the past. I was like, yeah, that Steve Jobs, he definitely is one of the most deserving people of that, right? Who's changed the world more than Steve Jobs? I mean, certainly there have been people that have changed the world in impactful ways that have changed history, but Steve Jobs is definitely amongst that group of people that has radically changed how the world works, the what you can do with technology, what people thought was possible, and the beauty of technology, the interface of technology with creativity. And he made more than a dent on the universe. He drastically impacted the arc of history, I think. And so I thought it was really poignant and and well deserved to. I mean, posthumously grant him the award. And then the other person I noticed that was on here, which I was like, my man, dude, Denzel Washington won it too. Is he on here? Where is he?
It's kind of an odd list of people.
That's what I thought. And I was like, look, I love Denzel Washington. He's one of my favorite actors. But I'm like, there's a lot of people on here who have done things that were like hugely impactful. And it's like, Denzel Washington, he's a great actor. One of the greats. But I'm like, there's a lot of great actors, you know, that are out there. So it's like, why Denzel? I was trying to think, and I'm like, what did he do recently that may have got him on the list? And I'm like, he intervened in the Will Smith scenario.
I was gonna say it was the slap.
That was
the
it,
post
man.
Slap peacemaker.
He was the post slap peacemaker, making peace. And
hilarious.
I think that put him over the edge. I think that got him on the list. So for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, of course you heard the whole Will Smith slapped Chris Rock on stage at the the Oscars, excuse me. Wrong medium. And what you may not have seen is afterwards, Denzel Washington is like pulling Will Smith aside. He's talking to him and calming him down so that things don't escalate. And people were like really impressed that Denzel Washington was jumping in there to do that. And that's the kind of guy Denzel Washington is. I've heard him do not things exactly like that, but jump into scenarios before, situations before, and try to be a peacemaker. And, no one speaks as, I should say, few people speak as eloquently or with like such natural sage wisdom as gravitas, thank you, as Denzel Washington. Like the things that he said to Will Smith, I was like, that sounds like a script, man. It sounds like someone wrote it for you. Like he said, God, what did he say? He was like, you got to be careful because right when you're, at your peak, that's when the devil comes for you. And I'm like, that's a great line.
I know.
And who speaks like that? And I've heard
just
speeches off the cuff. And I've heard Denzel Washington say stuff like that in talks. He did a great I think it was like it was a what do they call those? He spoke at a graduating to a graduating class, graduation ceremony. What do they call those? Like that
commencement speech?
Commencement speech, thank you. He did like a commencement speech address where he talked about his life and God and stuff, and I was like, well, this is really profound and weighty and substantial, and I've heard him do that a lot, and he went in there and did that with Will Smith, and I'm like, my man got himself a Presidential Medal of Honor for consoling Will Smith after the slap. That's what happened there. I guess Denzel also prevented iRobot. That's good. That could have ended badly. Prevented iRobot. Got it. Oh man. So there you go. So I guess Steve Jobs' family will get to receive that medal, which is pretty freaking cool, if you ask me. All right, that's it, Lewis.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you?
Surely you got another tangent up your sleeve.
I've always got some more tangents up my sleeve. It's funny. Every time
I knew it.
I've always got tangents up my sleeve. I mean, we could seriously, and maybe we should do this one show. We could seriously show up here with no notes whatsoever and just do it Joe Rogan style, and just see what happens. And I bet you we'd go for 2 hours. It would not surprise me in the slightest. Now we may not talk about any Apple stuff. That would be the problem. But would that be so bad? Would that be so bad for an Apple podcast? Yeah. But every time we start going long, I always get tweets from people. People reach out to me via email and they're like, "Dude, you should just make it 2 hours." And I'm like, don't tempt me, because Lewis and I are already, because it's an hour. We've been going. I've been recording for an hour and 46 minutes now. You all will probably only hear an hour and maybe like 10 minutes of the show. But every time Lewis and I join, we end up riff-raffing for frickin' 45 minutes. And I'm like, Lewis, we got to stop and go live so that we can do the show. And by that time, we've already gotten rid of all of our good material. All the best jokes are all gone. And unfortunately, we end up with all the residual, or you guys end up with all the residual. But I'm gonna go ahead, start the music, and we'll go ahead and wrap it up there. That's all the cast we have for you guys this week. But if you want to come and keep the banter going on Twitter, we're both there. I'm at Airfun, ERFWin. Lewis is at Lewis Wallace. Lander Kinney, he's gone.
He's in lockdown mode.
He's in lockdown mode. He can't even make a phone call, let alone check his Twitter.
Send him a postcard.
That might be the only way to communicate him from this point on. Let's see here. Well, thank everyone for listening. New episodes of the Cult-Cast come out every Thursday night. Every single Thursday night. I think we've only missed one.
Whether you want them or not.
Whether you want them or not. We're like that album that shows up in your iTunes from U2. It's coming in. You don't even want it. It's coming in. Songs from My Heart by Lewis Wallace and Eric Von Elijah. But we're back next week. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Thanks for watching live. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you guys. Still going this. I can keep it going if you want, but I won't. I won't make you enjoy it anymore. See you guys next time. 2 hours is enough, Liz.
You would think that it would be enough.
You would
If
think
not
that it would
just
be enough, but
slightly
these
too
people are
much.
masochists. The longer we go, the more they want. every week, the longer we go. You went too short. It's only 90 minutes. You went too short. It was only 2 hours.
Jeez, it's 1:37. When's lunch?
I told you.
Gotta
Why
start
not?
bringing snacks.
Captain Future says, why not 3? Why not 3? We can get Alex Jones on here and do like a 5-hour show.
Oh my God. Maybe we should just go for a 24-hour marathon. We could have a set up some kind of Patreon or something like that. Pay to
go.
get us to stop.
Let's stop and stream now, Liz. Bye.